Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. I'm Kevin Kietzman with you on a beautiful, crisp fall day. We have numerous topics. We will start the show in just a moment with serious Trump and then fun Trump. We have both today. We have serious and fun Trump today. Another major celebrity has decided he's just coming out as a conservative and moving to the East Coast of the Palm Beach area in Florida to make Sylvester Stallone, Tiger Woods, Billy Joel, Donald Trump, and Sydney Sweeney his neighbors. And why wouldn't you if they could be your neighbors? I think I'd probably move there too, but I don't have the $37 million that went along with getting the house. We have Joe Biden health news on the show today. The single worst football stat in the history of football stats was put out yesterday by an operation called Pro Football Focus, which is renowned as being like the Bible of sports statistics. You won't believe what it has done with Patrick Mahomes and Geno Smith from their football game at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday. And yes, we will check in with Mark later. I'm sorry about the Mariners. Look, he's got his Seahawks fan hat on immediately, buddy. That was a great game.
It was. It was a good game. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to still support the Seattle team today.
I really respect and appreciate that. And it's a what if, what might have been kind of thing as George Springer for the Blue Jays hit a 3-run homer in the 7th inning, leading Toronto to the American League Championship. They'll take on the Dodgers in the World Series beginning on Friday. And what's all this talk about tortillas? Football fans throwing tortillas. It's ending in Lubbock. I'll tell you where it needs to start back up immediately, as in Saturday. I have a plan. Stick around for that. We'll let you know. We'll start with the serious Donald Trump today, who just within the last hour put a post up that's a little ominous. We have been celebrating peace in the Middle East for a week now. And what we really need to celebrate in the Middle East is an alliance, if you will, however you want to describe this, that Trump has put together between nations, that they've agreed to do something that they've never agreed to do before, because they believe in Donald Trump, they believe in the United States and the wealth that it can bring to the region, and they believe in stability and peace if it can be had, and what it will mean, not just for the people in power and the money that they'll make and how great it'll be for them, but for everybody that lives there. So Hamas has been killing Palestinians, which is really weird because we thought this whole thing was about helping Palestine, which there is no place called Palestine. But they've been killing Palestinians who don't like the terrorists. Well, if you tell me Palestinians don't like terrorists, I might start to like Palestinians. I kind of thought they were one and the same. But apparently Hamas is killing people, and now Israel has gone in and done more, and there's embers of violence taking place with Hamas in Gaza. So you're asking yourself, is this thing about to blow up in a week's time? And Trump is trying very authoritatively, yes, I said it that way, today with a post in the last hour to let people know that this will not stand and they will not have any issues with Hamas. Here's what he has posted about the allies the United States has in the Middle East, including Israel, but a bunch of Muslim countries as well. Trump posts, numerous of our now great allies, in all caps, now great allies in the Middle East and areas surrounding the Middle East have explicitly and strongly with great enthusiasm informed me they would welcome the opportunity at my request to go into Gaza with a heavy force and straighten out Hamas if Hamas continues to act badly in violation of the agreement with us. The love and spirit for the Middle East has not been seen like this in 1,000 years. It is a beautiful thing to behold. I told these countries and Israel, not yet. There is still hope that Hamas will do what is right. If they do not, an end to Hamas will be fast, furious, and brutal, all caps, double exclamation points. I would like to thank all those countries that called to help. Also, I would like to thank the great and powerful country of Indonesia and its wonderful leader for all of the help that they have shown and given to the Middle East and to the United States of America. To everyone, thank you, and thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Now, make of that what you will. There could be hyperbole in there. There's no detail of the exact countries that have called him and said, we're ready to go in and take care of this. But the spirit of this agreement was, Hamas, you have to lay down your arms. Phase 2 is turn it all over. You can try through the ballot box to have control in this area and remain relevant, but it has to be nonviolent. And we're going to take your weapons. You're going to lay down your arms. This is going to stop. And they will not do that. It was widely thought at the time that the only way you get them to do that is by telling them you're going to wipe them out. And Trump put together a coalition of countries, whatever countries those are, however many it is. I think it's about 20. I think the list they put out was somewhere around 20, maybe a little bit more, are all basically an alliance that will make sure Hamas doesn't reconstitute as the Hamas that we know. So if this is real, maybe we're only days away from forces going in. I don't think they will be American forces. I think they will be directed by American military leaders on where to go, what to do, how to do it, American Israel. Can you imagine some of these countries sending their people in to clean up Hamas with Israel and the United States calling the shots? Now, the peace deal was one thing, and I was quick to say this maybe lasts a week, maybe a year, maybe the end of Trump presidency, but it's not forever because it's the Middle East. But if these other countries that have been Israel-hating, America problem, if they've all decided, you know what, we're done with it. We're just done with fighting over this religious stuff. We're done with it. Let's have peace, prosperity. Trump's going to show us the way. He doesn't have anything against anybody that's Muslim. He doesn't have against anybody that's Israeli or Jewish. He doesn't have any problem with anybody that has any religion. He doesn't hate the Chinese. He hates Putin at this point, but he doesn't hate the Russians. Trump's not a hater. In a weird sort of way for a conservative, he's a globalist. Their globalist vision on the left is for the globe to just be one socialist entity. That's not Trump at all. Trump's a globalist, and he says, your country, your history, and your tradition is your country, your history, your tradition, and your religion. That's you. You do you, and you protect that, and you live that, and you pass that down to your children. And we'll do the same in the United States. And we don't want to take you over, and we don't want to change you. We don't want to tell you what God to pray to. We don't want to tell you what your government has to be. All right? When there are really bad things taking place like Venezuela with Maduro, who's wanted for $50 million in the United States. There's a bounty on him. He's a criminal in the United States. Running that country into the ground, sending drugs into America, Trump will take action. It's not that he's not strong and won't do something when it's in the best interest of the United States. But the best interest for the entire world right now is an alliance in the Middle East that says we're going to make sure that the terrorists don't run this region anymore and don't cause the problems that they've caused that we've seen, you and I, including 9/11 and all these other things that have happened, the terrorist events on our soil that we've seen our whole lives. Radical Islamists are the most dangerous people on earth. It's proven time and time again. They're the most hate-filled, violent, terroristic people on the planet. And if these countries are coming together under Trump's leadership, and this is real, and their people go in at our direction and do the job that needs to be done, and we don't send anybody, I'll say it again. We got to start carving at Mount Rushmore. You just have to. These are things that have never even been thought of. Now, it's Trump. It's a post. It was short on details. He thanked Indonesia, but not any other countries. I thought that was a little odd, but I tend to believe him. More importantly, Hamas needs to believe him. The best option here is for Hamas to comply entirely with the peace deal and let the thing play out and don't break the rules. If they don't, and Trump is not fabricating this, if it's true, he's got countries chomping at the bit to go in there and clean this up, and he's saying, wait, let's see if they're going to act nicely, that's a great thing. That certainly isn't a king, because it seems to me a king, well, if he was a king, he'd just go in and take that area for us. He'd turn it into nothing but beach resorts and golf courses and casinos. Be like the French Riviera, right? Seriously, that's exactly what he would do. But he's a serious guy, and this is a serious post. I'm, of course, all on his side for hoping this works. He's had a hell of a week. It's only day 2. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals yesterday, we didn't talk about this, in Oregon, overturned the lower court judge's decision that says that Trump can't use the National Guard in Portland, and they said, yes, he can. The Seventh Circuit Court of Appeal over the weekend in Chicago went halfway, said it's his absolute authority to be in charge of the National Guard on the outskirts of Chicago, near the base and wherever. But until there is actual unrest, he can't go in and do anything. He can't go in as a police force. The Democrats are changing their tune on the government shutdown right and left. I mean, we're watching all this stuff right in front of our own eyes. The No Kings thing is over. Now they're going to shift to Obamacare. And you can smell this coming. Bernie Sanders and Jon Stewart were together. They both agreed the Democrats have shut down the government. Jake Tapper went on CNN and said, well, it's the Democrats' fault that they shut the government down. They're the ones that created the expiration date for the subsidies to Obamacare, which, by the way, is December 31st. I think one of the biggest things we can possibly do is keep the government closed until January 1. If we do, $350 billion worth of Obamacare subsidies go away and can go straight to deficit reduction. It ends December 31st. It's the Schumer shutdown, and I think their pivot this week, it's going to be more and more and more as the days go by. They're going to own it. They're going to say, darn right, we shut the government down because the Republicans want to kill people. They're going to take away the government subsidies for the government program Obamacare. Why would we need subsidies? If the program was written properly and done right, you wouldn't need any subsidies. It would just be cheap health insurance like Barack Obama promised everyone. But it's a bad system, and it crumbles under its own weight. It is so bloated. So we need $350 billion of subsidies to make this possible. And they're going to tell you people will die. People will lose their insurance and die, and they will. But I'm a simpleton. I don't remember the person that walked into an emergency room and didn't get treatment. I'm still looking for that person in this country. Probably the only country on earth that can say that. So pardon me for not getting overly upset if the subsidies to the program that doesn't work because it was so poorly enacted and December 31st, the Democrats put the deadline in themselves and passed it. This is their deadline, December 31st. It is their shutdown. But they're going to start owning it, try to change the narrative now, and say Republicans want to kill people. That's it. That's my prediction. 913-408-7957. That's 913-408-7957. The phone lines are wide open if you'd like to join me next on Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio.
From Lenexa to Lee Summit, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Welcome back to the show. We're going to the phone lines. We always have thoughtful callers. Well, 90% of the time we have thoughtful callers. It's the other 10% I truly love. I mean, I agree with the thoughtful callers. They call in, and it's great. I'm sure these are going to be just fine. But, boy, that 1 out of 10, that's the one where it's a good thing I've got a little caffeine in me, ready to go. We'll see how it happens here. We're going to start with Keith and Miriam on KCMO. Hi, Keith. What's up?
Hello?
Yes, Keith. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah. You opened the show up talking about Hamas not living up to that agreement. Here's the thing, Kevin. The Palestinian people are going to have to get Hamas out of their country. And the reason why I say that is because Hamas doesn't care anything about their own people. I mean, 80% of Gaza has been destroyed because of them. I tell people this all the time, Kevin. There's no way Hamas is going to outgun Israel, who is the top 5 military on the planet, who has the number 1 superpower on the planet supporting them. You're not going to outgun them with homemade weapons. So I don't know how the Palestinian people are going to get rid of Hamas. Maybe they need to do what was done in Iraq with Saddam Hussein. Just offer the Palestinian people, Israel offer them money to give them the locations of the Hamas fighters to get them out of that country, because there's not going to be no peace until they do that.
I don't disagree with one word you said. I think I'm on board with all of that. I do think, however, I think most people don't understand this is a very small space. It's a very small area. And eliminating Hamas would be one of the easiest military operations ever if that were the goal. That really hasn't been the goal so far. Like, Israel could have gone and done it, but there's going to be collateral damage. There's going to be a lot of issues and the people around the world that will cry foul and all those things. But if there's a coalition of nations, over more than 20 nations, that have decided these people have to go, and you go in and you do the dirty work, because Trump put in his post, it will not be pretty. It will be ugly. But if they go in and they do it, and you have, 20-some nations supporting this, that changes it completely than Israel going in and doing it.
Well, and I'll just leave it at this. The Palestinian people are going to have to be the ones to do it. That way, you can't blame nobody else. If the Palestinian people go in and do it themselves, then that's all needs to be done.
I think they would love to have Hamas out of there. It's been a stronghold.
Yes,
they would love for them to be gone. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Take care, Kevin.
Thank you. Great call. And I think some of it's misplaced in this country. The white liberal academics that show up on street corners and hate on the Jews and pro-Palestine, I don't think they understand that a lot of the Palestinians don't really care for Hamas. They want them out of there. And that life would be that the Jews aren't as big of their problem as Hamas is. It's a mess, no doubt. All right, next is Wes in Gladstone on KCMO. Good morning, Wes.
Yeah, hey, Kevin. I just wanted to talk about Obamacare. So Obamacare was not passed to reduce cost. The plan was for it to collapse the private insurance market. Hillary gets elected, and then they would eventually put everybody on government-run health care.
I won't disagree with you, but it clearly was promoted as health care for all. You can afford this. We'll get you on here. You can take it, or you can stay with what you have. Now, I'm talking about the Democrats' talking points in their lives. But listen, nobody's more tied right now to the healthcare industry and the pharmaceutical industry than the Democrats. So whatever that was back then doesn't exist today. The Democrats are in lockstep with these pharmaceutical companies and these health companies.
Right. And so don't cave on this. They put the sunset on the subsidies.
Let it go.
Let them go.
Let it go. Well, we got to keep we got 2+ months of government shutdown to go for that to happen, and I find it impossible to believe that Republicans will stay that strong.
They probably won't. Won't.
We're in agreement, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
Excellent call. No, I totally agree with that. Here's Mark in Lenexa on Uncanceled KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Kevin. How are you today?
Great, buddy. Thank you.
Beautiful day out here. I'd just like to chime in and say I think that President Trump, with his dealing with Trump RX and the insurance companies, ought to come out and say, I'm signing a executive order legalizing selling insurance across state lines, and name it after the healthcare executive who was murdered, and then bring in all the insurance companies and truly come up with free market insurance.
That would be very exciting and very interesting if developments like that happen. If you make these corporations compete against each other, clearly the cost would go down. Now, some people will tell you they'd be afraid that our standards for healthcare would go down as well. So we'd have to watch that. But, I mean, we all know how expensive these things can be. It's unbelievable. But there really isn't much competition. You're right. And if they're not competing against each other, there's no way to keep costs from going up because their board of directors just wants to make massive profits every year. That's ultimately what it's about. Appreciate the call, man. Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Thank you. No, good call. And health insurance industry and healthcare, not by far my area of expertise. But I can see something when it's happening, and I know that profits are before anything else, and there is not much competition in the industry. All right, we're due for the news break. Uncanceled continues on KCMO.
From Overland Park to Parkville, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
I'm trying to figure out what the best perks are for working here at Cumulus. There's the Monday breakfast from Grandma's Catering every week. That's phenomenal. By the way, there was enough yesterday that it's down there left over. They were warming it back up today.
Nice.
You can do leftover breakfast now.
That's true.
Those breakfast potatoes were great. Those will, because they were burritos. It was like a burrito station.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was so solid. Or when you're hosting a show and you step out in the hallway to go in and see Supermark in the control room and Tom Petty's playing in the hallway.
That'll give you a pep in the step.
Absolutely, man. Let's go to the fun Trump. We did the serious Trump in the first half of the show. How about the fun Trump? I've got this theory. I wish I could confirm this, but I believe it's happened. I believe at some point in the last 24 hours, Trump has called somebody in, and it might have only been a 5-minute meeting. It might have been a call. It might have been on the speakerphone, and said, I don't care what it takes. I want us to find the jewel thieves from the Louvre in Paris. Like, Trump loves things that are hundreds of years old. He loves gold. He loves diamonds. He likes all this showy stuff. He's got a 400-year-old mirror in the cabinet room that he brought up last week, and a reporter or a camera guy bumped into it, and Trump's like, hey, that thing is 400 years old. I found it down in the vault. This guy goes shopping down in the basement of the White House for artifacts to put all over the White House. He's torn down the eastern part of the White House. I don't know if you've seen the video. It's being ripped apart, and they're building the nicest ballroom in America. And, of course, it's going to be the Trump ballroom. You know it's going to have gold. It's going to be gaudy. It's going to be all the stuff that he loves that most people don't. But he's a king, for God's sake. Let him have his gold. Let him have his crown. Let him have his jewels. When those people got that cherry picker, which is amazing, apparently they rented it. They got a rented, you know what a cherry picker is, everyone? It's the thing you get in the basket and they go up really high to trim the trees or the power lines or whatever they work. It's called a cherry picker. So they rented this thing and they go up to the window of the Louvre in Paris and they bust the window out of the Napoleon, basically the Napoleon era room where all those artifacts are. They go in through the window, they heist a bunch of stuff, and they get on electric scooters and shuffle away in under 7 minutes. They were a little sloppy. They dropped some stuff. They left some DNA. There's going to be some evidence. But do we really think the French can catch them? If somebody got into a room right next to the Mona Lisa by renting a cherry picker, do you think these people, you think Clouseau, the Pink Panther, what was his name? Inspector Clouseau of the Pink Panther is going to catch. No, I think Jacques Cousteau was the underwater guy, right?
That's right.
Inspector Clouseau was a takeoff on that, right? So Inspector Clouseau, I don't think they're going to catch him. If you don't think Donald John Trump has already thought, I want to be the guy to take the credit for catching these people and returning those jewels, think again. Now, maybe that's misplaced. Maybe you shouldn't be talking about that. We've got Gaza, Hamas, Israel. We've got Russia and Ukraine. We've got all these things going on in the U.S. We've got no kings. We've got the National Guard. We have court challenges. Maybe your president doesn't have to put that at the top of the list, but I think we all know Trump well enough right now to know that he definitely wants to catch those thieves for France. I just, can you imagine if we get intel or have some people stationed around the world that start to get information on this thing and we crack the case and solve it for them, what that might look like? He already took a shot at the French leader last week. He's like, yeah, nobody cares what he says. He said it last week. We're like, well, you're saying this. That's nice. He's a nice man. He's fine. Nice man. And nobody cares what Macron says. We don't care. And it's like, of course. Do you think Macron's picked up the phone and said, hey, we need help here? I need to find these thieves. I don't know, but I've got a working theory. I just wanted you to hear it here first. I promise you, Trump has spent some idle time, whether it was at lunch or having a Diet Coke, the few down minutes of his day, he was talking about the jewelry heist, no question. That is right on his list of things to do, I promise. Trump's got a new neighbor, a little bit down the street. Looks like it's about 5, 6, 7 miles away. Mark Wahlberg is moving into a $37 million mansion. Mark Wahlberg was one of the first people to leave Hollywood. He moved his family, he had kids at home. He said, this is toxic. I'm out of here. This is going to sound weird, but he moved to the suburbs of Vegas in the mountains. He obviously avoided taxes by doing that. So a very conservative move. He makes a lot of money. No longer has to pay California state income tax, which I think is around 14%. So he saved millions and millions. I'm sure with money he saved in income tax in California, he was able to buy this $37 million house in Florida. So he's moving in next to Trump, Tiger Woods, Sylvester Stallone, Billy Joel, and Sydney Sweeney, and others. But that's a pretty good list. They're all right there together. Mark Wahlberg, not afraid to let people know. You see him on those Tunnels Towers commercials. He's a good conservative there. He's a devout Christian. I believe he's Catholic, but very devout and a family guy, which is cool. And it must be an unbelievable, I had Stan Weber in here yesterday, and Stan's a good friend, and I think I might have made him a little uncomfortable when I asked him, do you remember this, Mark? When I asked him about the Mahomes play, where he used the F word a couple of times, this doesn't effing work. Da, da, da. Stan loves football. It's secondary to family and God. It is, but he loves it. I'm telling you, it's a complete passion for him. I said, would you have Mahomes do that play? He goes, well, I don't think I would have. I said, what if you just took the word out? He goes, well, then I'd probably be okay with it. What about Mark Wahlberg? Didn't he famously play a porn star in a movie?
He's played a few things.
He's played some violent killers and everything else, right?
Uh-huh.
That's got to be hard.
Yeah.
When you live your life a certain way and morals in Christianity are a standard, that's got to be a hard thing to cross over. I guess you just say, hey, this is what I do for a living, so we're putting it out there. But we applaud Mark Wahlberg. We also applaud Joe Biden today, and I'm serious about this. His daughter that had the diary, remember, was it Ashley Biden? She posted on social media yesterday that Joe Biden rang the bell at Penn Medical Center. He's been getting all kinds of cancer treatments there. I don't have all the details of it. We know he had advanced prostate cancer. It spread to his bones. He's had skin cancer. And if they rang the bell at Penn Medical, and then a publicist for him verified this yesterday, that means, I don't know if that means you're cancer-free or it's in remission and has stopped. I'm not exactly sure I know.
I think it means he finished the chemotherapy.
Okay.
So I don't know if that leans one way or another for healing, but
That's a good thing.
he's at least done with it, yeah.
Strong enough to get through all the treatment. And she celebrated on social media like this was a great day, like the prognosis was very good. That's great. Because the whole Dem party, not that they weren't terrible to him while he was in there, they were. They're even worse to him now. They're now trying to run around and say, well, we told him, we did this, we did that. None of it works for me. Josh Shapiro's the worst. He's out there saying, I met with him privately and told him he was done in Pennsylvania and he should probably get out of the race and this and that. Well, no, you should have told us then. It doesn't mean anything that you say that now. I don't think Joe Biden as an ex-president is going to come out and start debunking all the things people are saying about him. I think he's going to fade away, which is fine. Nobody's ever faded away more than George W. Bush. It's been the biggest fade out ever. And I'm sure every day it's all he can do to not comment on Trump because the Bush family hates Trump. Donald Trump single-handedly dismantled the Bush dynasty. They had 12 years of presidency. They had another son coming along. It was Rhino at best, and maybe even Rhino light, looking back on it. They were never conservative. His administration was riddled with people like the crazy lady on CNBC, MSNBC, his White House communications director, Nicole Wallace. Ooh, I just get shivers looking at her. Oh. His administration had all kinds of people like that. But he also had wonderful people like Dana Perino. So there were some good ones, but that's what it was. And in fairness to Trump, or in fairness to Bush, Trump's first presidency, he had some bad people in there too. Not this time. I think he knew exactly who he was putting in and how this was going to work. But long gone are the days of a non-conservative Republican Party. And I didn't know this about myself. I've only learned it over the last decade. I'm a populist. So I'm like in line with almost everything Trump's doing. I'll put my conservatism at times aside as a populist for America. I'm also not idealistic. I was thinking earlier today about some of the things that Patrick Toohey and I from the Show Me Institute have disagreed about over the years. And he's an intellect, and I'm not. He is. And I think he's a libertarian, and there's a rule. Taxes are bad, so it's bad here, bad here, bad. But for me, it's like, okay, rental car tax to build Sprint Center, I'm in. Okay? New sales tax in Kansas, 70% to move the Chiefs to Kansas, I'm in. Those are easy calls for me, and that's not very conservative, and that's not very principled. I understand, but it's not my money. So I'm kind of a realist about these things. I look at them and say, and we all should as voters. Any tax, you got to look at it and say, well, if that's a tax that bothers me, then I'm against it. But if somebody else is paying the tax, great. So if you want to go to a game at a new Arrowhead in Kansas and pay the sales tax and it pays off the stadium, what do I care if that's what you do? It's not my money. When I go there and I pay $14.50 for a beer, well, by then it'll be $20 for a beer. The sales tax is included, whatever it's in there. I'm choosing to pay it. That's on me. That's not the government telling me I have to do something. So I hate taxes just like the next person. But I mostly hate taxes that they impose on us that we can't get away from. The worst tax of all is punishing people for working. There's no dumber idea in the history of government. We're going to punish you for going to work every day. You want to feed your family and put a roof over the head, you're going to work, we're going to crush you. We're coming after you. We want somewhere between 22 and 38% based on what you make. You're just going to go to work every day and you're going to hand it to us. Insane. Really stupid. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with people that are idealistic, and I'm cool with a lot of things that don't sound like they'd be very conservative. But George W. Bush has just gone and hidden, and I think Joe Biden will do the same thing. The Bush thing's different. It's about Trump, clearly, and everything he's done. Have you seen I don't really care much about the New York mayor's race, like the outcome. In fact, it may be a positive for America if Mamdani wins. It'll be really bad for New York. Whatever remaining rich conservatives they have are leaving. They're gone. It's just going to be an exodus. New York City could be like, did Kurt Russell do a movie about the destruction of New York? You remember that one?
I'm not sure.
Or was that San Francisco? This sounds like something John would know for sure. I know he's done like an Alcatraz movie. There have been some prison movies. I think there was something about the streets of New York or something in New York being decimated, whatever it may be. Planet of the Apes, the original was about New York, right? We just didn't know it until the end. And the Statue of Liberty was sticking out of the ocean in the final scene. I think that's what we're going to have, is like the destruction of New York if Mamdani wins. So I'm not going to New York again unless it's a family thing that I have to go to or something. I've got no reason to ever visit New York again. I'm sorry. I don't care that much. When 9/11 happened, I would have gone there and helped in any way that I can for my United States brethren. But I'm not sure anymore. I'm not sure I have anything in common with those people. The reason I say that is they did a poll on the mayor's race. And what they found is incredible. They asked first, are you born in the U.S. or not born in the U.S.? And if you said you were born in the United States, Cuomo is leading by a wide margin with 40%, Mamdani 31%, and Sliwa with 25%. Sliwa's the Republican. But that's 2/3 of American-born citizens. This is important. That's 2/3 of American-born citizens that live in New York City want nothing to do with the communist Mamdani. But when you ask them, were you born somewhere else and live here now, it's 62% for Mamdani, 24% for Cuomo, and 12% for Sliwa. Now, my guess is they've got a huge illegal alien problem in New York that's not even reflected in this poll, that isn't just like foreign-born U.S. citizens. That's the number. I'm going to guess they call all kinds of people and all kinds of people vote that are not actually citizens. They got a mess on their hands in New York, but very clear lines drawn. That's why the Democrats opened the border. That's why they let all these people in. It was always about winning elections. When Uncanceled continues, we check in with Mark. His Mariners are out. They had a great, great season. And tortillas have stopped being thrown in Lubbock, we think. I'll tell you where they should be thrown Saturday next.
Hey, it's Vince Colonnese. Catch my new show at 11 o'clock after Kevin Kietzman on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
The Vince Show is coming right up. Hang in there, Vince. We'll get it right to you in short order. The Seattle Mariners fell last night to the Toronto Blue Jays. My man, Mark Van Sickle, not particularly happy, but that's the way it goes. It's really heart-wrenching. Baseball's different because it's a long series, and this was really well played. Man, that was a heartbreaker, wasn't it?
Yeah, it starts all the way back in March, at February even, with spring training nowadays, and it goes all the way till now, and it's only one team's going to win. Only one team's going to be happy, and I think it's going to be the Dodgers.
There's really no dejection in team sports like a baseball player in the dugout after a Game 7 loss to keep the season alive. The looks on their faces it's not equal to any other sport.
Yeah. And, I mean, you had your big stars show up. I mean, Julio hit a home run. Big Dumper hit a home run. They just didn't have anybody on base when they got the home run, so that's what cost them.
Dodgers have to be a huge favorite.
Oh, yeah.
If you took Ohtani off the Dodgers, I think they're the better team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
which is crazy.
Now you throw in Ohtani, who's the number one strikeout per 9-inning pitcher in history, okay? And the greatest hitter we've ever seen, and plug him in, I don't know how Toronto wins this.
Yeah, as the leadoff hitter.
and the Dodgers have 2, maybe 3 other starting pitchers that could go throw 7 shutout innings on any given
night.
night.
They have Mookie Betts and
crazy.
Freddie Freeman. And,
That's crazy. Kirby Hocutt is the athletic director at Texas Tech University, ladies and gentlemen. And he emphatically stated after tortilla pocket knife gate with Kansas a couple of weeks ago that we will never end our tradition of throwing tortillas, that this is what we do. We're going to get it right. We're not going to throw them on the field. We're going to be okay. And yesterday he had a news conference and said it's all over. We're done. If you throw one, we're kicking you out, and you can't go to any Tech sporting events the rest of the year. What happens if 500 students throw tortillas at the next game? How are they going to do that, Mark?
It's going to be tough to stop them. Say
Sure
that.
is. It's like all these schools that chant the F word in a song.
Yeah.
The only way to stop it's don't play the song.
Yep.
Right? So we've seen that before. So the Big 12 brought this on themselves. They have a stupid policy. If a fan throws something on the field, the team gets warned. If it happens the second time, the team gets warned. If it happens the third time, you get a 15-yard penalty, and so on and so on and so on. It's like you get 2 mulligans, and then we're going to give you 15 yards. I cannot think of any better thing for stupid college kids to do this week. If you're sitting around in Manhattan or you know anybody at K-State, you should all take tortillas to the game in Lawrence and throw them all over the place. You just ought to do it.
Sneak them in.
Mock KU. They got rid of a coach for planting a knife on the field, trying to draw a penalty. The KU coach has literally cheated and we believe got a penalty after dropping that knife. And he's gone from the program or whatever. I think you mock him. I think if the K, because a lot of K-State fans are getting in there. Why wouldn't you get tortillas and mock KU for this?
It would be funny.
It would be, because it clearly upset Lance Leipold that the tortillas were flying around.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Do it in their stadium?
That would be hilarious.
One of the all-timers. I'm not condoning this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm merely pointing out that if I were a young, stupid college kid at K-State, I would be organizing this on campus as we speak. All over the place. Every single one of them. And Pro Football Focus. You saw this, didn't you, Mark?
Yes, absolutely ridiculous.
Pro Football Focus. Patrick Mahomes threw for 1,000,000 yards, 3 touchdowns, 73% completion. They gave him a passer rating of 62. Geno Smith had 67 yards, no touchdowns, 63% completions. His rating was higher, 66.
Unreal.
They say it's because Mahomes threw 2 passes that could have been intercepted.
Oh.
That's their passer rating system. Ridiculous. The Vince Show's coming up. Have a great day.